Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Deb Lavoy with Reality Team, and this is our next edition of Mind Games. And today I have with me Ruurd, whose name I probably just butchered. I apologize, but I'm trying. I'll get there. And Ruurd is the person, the company that developed the game Bad News. We've been playing this game for a while. We think it's really, really interesting because it does something very different from other media literacy games. Instead of focusing on trying to help you figure out if news is credible or not, it helps you learn how bad guys manipulate social media to get you to believe stuff. So welcome and thank you for being with us today.
Thanks.
Before we take a look at the actual game, can you tell me a little bit about basically who are you and what led you to develop and author this game?
Thanks. Thanks for being here. So I'm Ruurd. I'm 32 years old, and back in 2015, I was studying Russian studies at Leiden University in the Netherlands, and basically that was the same time that Russia invaded Ukraine, and that was a time when, for the first time in my life at least, I didn't understand what was true and what wasn't because of this sheer amount of disinformation that was pumped into the media. And that frustrated me so much that I wrote my master's thesis on disinformation. And at the time I mean, Trump wasn't elected yet, so the word fake news wasn't even hyped yet. And at the same time, I got recruited by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to work on the topic of Russian disinformation as a research intern. So basically, back in 2015, I was already touring around in Europe and speaking to people that tried to fix the problem of disinformation, mainly still at that time looking at ISIS. And I had to come up with recommendations to deal with disinformation. And at that time, I felt that we needed something else than telling people what was right and what was wrong. We needed something else than a strong independent media system, because even in strong independent media systems, disinformation can flourish. And at that time, I had the idea we need to do something with satire or something else. Like basically, what I came up with was we need to create a generator, a disinformation generator that just with one click of a button, you get a random text that is offensive and false. You get an emotional picture, you get a title that's clickbait, and then you have Twitter bots that can actually amplify your message on the internet, and then you can just see, like, you don't need anything, just one click, and you can create a story that people believe. Now, we couldn't get funding to do that, but we did find the Dutch Institute for Innovation in Journalism, and we sort of got to work on it, and we decided we should create a game, and that became the Bad News game. So the whole idea behind the Bad News game was, we don't want to tell you what is right and what is wrong. We don't want to tell you what you should do. We don't want to give you like the golden rules that you should always abide. We're just going to show you how you can manipulate. And by doing so, we put in a lot of humor, and we try to push you over the ethical edge. Like you start to understand that what you're doing is wrong, but we're not telling you you're doing wrong. We're telling you you're doing great, because you start to understand it. You start to think for yourself, and that's how you can actually build a trigger into your head when you see techniques of disinformation.
Yeah. One of my favorite things about this game is that it's fun to play the bad guy. Like, okay, evil genius, you get to actually sort of be naughty. And at the same time, sort of get into the mindset of how bad guys think and act and the tools they use to mess with us.
Yep.
So the fact that it's sort of fun and funny makes it a really great tool. I love it. I think it's a really good game. Anyway, so you work for a company, right? And the company's called
DROG.
DROG.
DROG means sort of in Dutch means fallacy.
Oh, that's a good word. Good job. And your company actually is for profit, but your purpose is a social good.
Yeah, so basically I never intended to set up a company, but the bad news came somehow was popular, and we got more requests on creating more games. So from a weird idea, we went to a successful project, which then became a company, which then became a successful company. And basically what we try to do is invent new interventions against disinformation. So the games are, and we try to do everything data driven. So the games have been tested by Cambridge University on effectiveness. And so we can actually state like this intervention for 15 minutes will make you 20% more, less receptive of disinformation techniques. And what we've been doing, among other things, for instance, is monitoring on authentic behavior online. So can we see patterns in behavior and therefore state maybe we should not believe this account because apparently it's one of a group of accounts that are all created on the same date. But we're thinking about a lot of things. I mean, for instance, if we talk about freedom of speech, it's under stress in a way, not because there's censorship, but because we're actually like authentic criticism gets undersnowed by inauthentic criticism often. So how can we basically safeguard authentic freedom of speech with a sort of watchdog that still isn't here? Who can actually set up a watchdog if it should be independent? Maybe we can like kickstart something and make it something that everybody can join, and then basically start doing something so that we can solve problems.
So your mission is a lot like ours, which is there aren't a lot of rules. There are a lot of people doing bad things out there. What can we do to fight back and help people, protect people? What you've done is something that I probably personally could never do, which is to make it really fun and hilarious and naughty and appealing, and it's great. So I'm going to ask you to give us a demo as you're setting up there. So go ahead and share your screen and give us a demo. And one of the things that's interesting about this is that there is a version that's meant for ages 15 and up. There's a version for younger children from ages 8 to 11. And the game is available in a lot of different languages. It's not just English. And we can show you some of the things. If you are interested in this game, the website is getbadnews.com. Strongly encourage you to at least check it out. It is really fun. So go ahead.
Can you see my screen now?
Yep.
Okay. So this is the front page. All you have to do is click play the game. The fun thing is when we started building it, maybe the most complicated thing of all was getting people to play it, because we were trying to let people be the bad guy. But if you give people like from the first question some very, very bad decisions, they're just like, sorry, I don't want to play this game. Here's your phone back. So this was the most complex part. But so the computer tells you, hi there, good to see you. And you're like, who are you? So the computer's job is to guide you in your quest to becoming a disinformation and fake news tycoon. Oh boy. So you're probably frustrated about something, right? I mean, everybody is. So you can get started by using Twitter to vent. So let's post a frustrated tweet. So this is our profile. And we can say, this government is a complete and utter failure. Resign, losers. Or if you're not angry about the government, we could do the mainstream media is one massive conspiracy. Hashtag fake news. So yeah, let's tweet this. Let's see what happens. And we did get 25 followers, which is not that much, but our credibility just went down the drain because we're not an authority yet. So what do we do next? Maybe if we want some real influence, we need to raise our credibility first. So are we ready? And this is basically the study that that Jon has built in, which we will not do because it takes like 5 minutes. But here, to gain notoriety, we can start by borrowing someone else's credibility. What do you want to do? Shall we impersonate someone or fake an official Twitter account? So let's impersonate someone. Let's make it personal. So we can be Joe Biden with a Mexican N. As your president, I have issued an executive order to rename Canada to North Dakota. Hashtag you got annexed. But maybe tweet something else. We can tweet as NASA. Meteorite alert. Large space objects set to hit us west coast. US West Coast. Hashtag be safe. So you can see like all the words in the account are a little bit off. So that means we created an account that looks the same, but it isn't the real account. So
unless you look carefully, you're not going to notice, right?
Yeah, I mean, we will actually tell you when you've clicked it. We tell you, did you notice NASA's slightly different username? So basically everything you can already understand if you look closely, but if you haven't seen it, we will just tell you as well. But it looks like that we fooled some Twitter users. We have 54 followers, and we can see some reactions because that's the thing, all right? We need to have like an army. We need to build that army. So there's Jane, who is very, very much afraid of meteorites, and Ben, who thinks it looks serious and is very, very, very much a fan of Sharknado 2. So how do you feel? Now, I'm going to tell you a secret. There's only one way to go game over in this game. And that is if you click, I have moral objections for too long.
So you're disqualified from being a bad guy if you have morals. Excellent.
And if you have moral objections, we will tell you that everything is in-game. It's just a mental exercise. You won't hurt anyone. But it will help you understand the tactics of the bad guy.
Yeah.
So if
by the way, you're not really tweeting this, you're make-believe tweeting this.
Absolutely. It's all in the browser.
Right.
And then we actually we let you start a news website, for instance, the Cosmos. But fun fact, actually, there are some of these websites that we've actually registered. For instance, the Dutch Post. And we have a workshop as well here in the Netherlands where we train children to create so basically that generator, we made it, but we let children write up a fake article, publish it online on a WordPress website, and then share it with all their network through every means. So they basically try to get as much people to the website. And then at the end of the day, we will delete the website again, or the articles, and we will tell them what their score was on unique visitors that came to the website. So beware, 2 teenagers can get 5% of the Dutch population to click on an article about a heat wave. That's how desperate we are for warm temperatures.
Yep.
No. But seriously.
So yes, disinformation, the most effective disinformation hits on what people really want. The more you want something to be true, the more likely you are to click on
it. And then you can say, like, probably not everybody believed it, because everybody who clicks on it gets a pop-up on the website that states, you've been fooled by 2 14-year-olds. Please do something about it. Right. So it's not our intent to lie to people, but it's our intent to show them, even when you click on it or you share it, you're spreading disinformation, and it's that easy to make. And here again, like in the game, what you see now is that we actually try to tell you that if you stay anonymous, you're not an authority. But how can you become an authority? You can claim to be anything you want. So even in the workshop, we tell them, call yourself editor-in-chief when you're writing your article, instead of like trying to be a blogger. Just try to copy mainstream media as good as you can, because that's the problem, right? I mean, the best disinformation looks like real media stuff. So you give your news website a slogan, for instance, bursting the mainstream media bubble, or a concerned citizen's personal opinion, which is of course a little less good because it's just one person. And this is of course like the conspiracy thinking, which works really, really well at the moment. What they don't want you to read. So it's that easy. Just tell them, I found this somewhere. They don't want us to read it, and you have your narrative for why it is important to read it. So you did a good job. The honest truth is online, and has now become the basis of your fake news empire. And then poof. And this is how the game is designed: is that you earn every chapter a new badge of a technique that you've learned, you've mastered. So here it is: impersonation. A minute ago you were just an angry citizen, and now you're a big shot editor-in-chief running a real news site.
So how long does someone need to spend with the game to get something out of it?
So I mean, you could even quit after a chapter, but playing the whole game takes about 15 to 20 minutes. And the research that John has done shows that people get 20% better at recognizing those techniques. So instead of just seeing if they like credit news sources better, we're actually saying you are now capable of recognizing your impersonation, which is much more a complex system of tricks than one example, and that you like. So
I really like this approach of showing people what it looks like when someone does something bad. So rather than just say, okay, point out, look for this and look for that, you start to understand the reasoning behind it, and it makes it easier to recognize.
Yep.
I like it. Anyway, how many chapters are there?
6.
6 chapters, and they're impersonation,
trolling. We have this is, I always forget our 6 chapters, but they're impersonation, trolling. You're defending yourself against fact checkers as well, so that means attacking. What is it?
Oh. Well, why don't you go into the next chapter of trolling, and then
so that's the 6 badges. So
oh yeah, online news content.
So you start posting your first articles. So this is just like showing it doesn't do much. So you need emotional content using emotion. There it is. Because emotional content just, I mean, and that's the problem with disinformation. There's a demand side as well. It's not just a supply side of disinformation. Like with the tabloids, there's a demand for stories that fit into your worldview. So you browse something that you can exploit. So climate change, for instance, very easy choice. And that's the fun thing as well. In this choice, actually, there is built in that whatever it is that you choose, you can choose your own angle of the political spectrum. So we don't force you, like if you're a left-wing person, that you have to bash left-wing people, or that you're a right-wing person have to bash right-wing people. No, we let you choose who you want to be, and then we let you choose who you want to bash, because you do need to bash. I mean, that's the goal, but it doesn't have to be political in any regard. So based in this is like people that think about climate change are most of the time more left-wing people. So we let you attack the right then afterwards. So it's an unbiased game in that sense.
And to be fair, there is there are people who are out there manipulating on both ends of the spectrum. And in particular, Russian disinformation purposely goes after both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Just because you are either liberal or conservative does not mean that you are immune in any way, shape, or form.
No, and a fight is always good. So you can just create a fight for creating a fight so that you lure people in. Yeah.
Right. Make people angry. The more angry people are, the less discerning they are, the less likely they are to care about whether something's actually true.
So what you want to do? Personally attack the scientists, get emotional, or talk about science?
Well, you want to personally attack the scientists.
Bam. With a meme or an article?
Oh, a meme. Definitely a meme.
So let's go get a meme. Pick one option. So are we going to go with this? Science says climate will change, but can't even predict rain. Wow. Little soft, right? Relax. Climate change is still the biggest threat.
No, what's next?
Could science focus on climate change? Should science focus on climate change or make better pacifiers?
This is definitely a meme from someone who has an infant. Right? You told me a little while ago that you have a 2-year-old son, and I'm thinking that this is the one you're going to go for.
So, I mean, crying babies. It doesn't matter what the meme says. Crying babies.
That's right. Exactly.
It's not great. Okay, it's a little bit vague. How do they react? Okay, this focus on climate is going too far. Oh no, oh no. But Kim likes us.
So how do people respond to this? Do you get a lot of trolls engaging you? Do you have to?
Oh, this is the fun part. We were trending on Reddit. We had 60,000 likes in 2 hours. And people were chatting about it. Everything was positive. Like, how?
That's really great. That's really great. And so were you getting people from, a variety of different, there you go. Now this is the stuff we deal with all the time. It's like, what? completely out of left field. Anyway, I think people start to get a sense of what's happening here. This is actually quite fun to play, and you do learn a lot from playing the game, particularly if you're someone who hasn't spent the last 4 years studying how platforms manipulate content and how people can manipulate that manipulation. You're going to learn a lot. It is kind of fun and funny. Fortunately, these guys have a sense of humor where, I don't, so it's hard for me to do anything that's funny. As I say, there's a bunch of different versions of this game. There is a version for 15 and up, ages 8 to 11, and a lot of different languages.
Yep.
Furthermore, you have resources for teachers to use this game in their classroom, right?
Yep. Yeah, we created a multiplayer version actually, so that like on the big screen, the teacher will have the big screen and it will show the high score list. And then children can actually use their smartphones to log in through a link and become their own team. So when we put them together and they have to choose like together what they will do, they will also go through chapters. And then at the end of every chapter, the teacher will have statistics on what they clicked actually. So they can say, okay, whose team the truth online? Okay, so you clicked attack the fact checker. Why did you choose that? And then you have the discussion starter, and then the teacher can actually say like, we'll continue, and then they go back to their phones and you play chapter 2.
I love this. All right, well, I think we are out of time for today, but I strongly recommend people go check this out. Getbadnews.com is the website, and you can find all the different versions from there. It's a lot of fun. Ruurd, I'm going to try to figure out how to say your name correctly, but more importantly, I hope that we can stay in touch and talk about different kinds of interventions, different kinds of ways to measure impact, and just sort of help each other get this stuff out to more people. Really enjoyed talking to you today.
Thank you. Thank you. And yeah, would really love to work together at some point.
Excellent. Thanks very much.